YouTube, what's up? It's your boy, Mr. Vincent. Today we're doing a reaction video to Alexander's Hachiman Hikigaya, kind of like a retrospective on the character Hachiman Hikigaya. And he is from the anime, my teen romantic comedy SNAFU. If you guys have never seen it, it's a great anime. It's on High Dive if you're in the United States and in the UK. If you're not, you can probably rent it somewhere. I'm not necessarily sure you can rent it, but it's a great romance anime. Kind of like it's a shoujo. It's a pretty good anime. One of the animes I really like. It's one of my favorite animes, and I think everybody should watch it. It gives you a unique perspective on how other people think. And you might think the same way as this main character, because I know at one point I did, about love and friendships, and that and you just see true character development from the first episode to the last episode of pretty much all three of the main characters. And I really loved it. And I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys as we watch this. So if you like the video, as always, please like the video, comment down below, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? So there's a character in the show that I've always really wanted to talk about, and I actually hold pretty dear near to my heart, actually. And it's Hachiman from my teenage comedy SNAFU. And I came across this video, titled Hikigaya Hachiman, Tragic Portrayal, Self-Deprecation. And I wanted to, react to it and, watch it with you guys and give you my thoughts on the anime. It being one of my favorite romance animes, I feel like it's something that I can talk to pretty often, pretty well. So hey, let's get into the video.
どうしてそんなやり方しかできないんだ。ほら、簡単だろう。誰も傷つかない世界の完成だ。
It is human nature to project things outwards and alter our exterior persona in order to compensate for some deeply rooted dilemma. This sort of thing is everywhere. Many bullies pick on others because they lack self-confidence and need something to prop themselves up.
Facts.
The most flamboyant, extroverted, seemingly confident person may actually be incredibly insecure. And most pertinently here, those who outwardly mock and deride the state of society from a detached position may actually be more craving of what it contains than one would think. Hikigaya Hachiman, the main protagonist of my teen romantic comedy SNAFU, also known as Oregairu, is an introspective, prideful, cynical high school student. He looks upon youth, high school, and social dynamics with disgust, and considers them to be a false illusion perpetuated by shallow people who are concerned with lying to themselves and others. He is constantly thinking and evaluating his observations through this lens.
He's one of those people that just I feel like I see myself, or see a version of myself in Hachiman, because it's I like to observe people and see things how they try to see it, and observe from afar before I talk to people and open up and be my real self. And I kind of some instances in the show he does that, and some instances in the show is just bro, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? He's always observing, he's always thinking, he always has a thought, and I can agree with every day. I always have a thought. I'm always thinking about something. I'm always observing something. I'm always hey, what should I do? Supposed to do that. I think that's being an overthinker. So I get that more than anything. And this character this whole series, I watch the series front to back, and every time I watch it, it's always man, it hits home. Always hits home.
And makes snap judgments based on what he has come to know. Seemingly because of his general distaste for all of this, Hachiman distances himself from others and proudly proclaims to be a loner. He intentionally makes himself unlikable. He is always wearing a bitter, sour look on his face, and he frequently avoids making connections with people apart from his relationship with his little sister. But despite being so introspective, he spends a great deal of the story lying to himself on the surface layer of his mind, even though he is aware of this dishonesty deep down. We are products of our environment, and Hachiman's prior experiences have taught him that the world is an ugly nightmare that has...
That's the thing, bro. It's crazy because like in this show, Hachiman's like 14, 15. So like to me, it's like, bro, how can you be this like lonery and like dark at this such young age? Because at 14, 15, man, like I was not like this. Like I didn't become like that until like later on in my life. But like obviously I've changed. I'm not the same type of person now. But it is, man, like the life lessons you can learn from watching this anime as a young teenager, young adult. Like it's one of those animes where I hold in high regard because I actually felt a lot of emotions watching this and learning things, and it was actually pretty cool. And I am very happy that I did. It was such a great show,
has no place for him. Throughout his early life, he has been shunned, made fun of, rejected, bullied, and dismissed at every turn, which has taught him to try not to care. He seems to think that lifting his cynical mask and showing vulnerability and weakness in any way is inherently bad, and that any form of sympathy or kindness towards him is dishonest condescension. But does he really believe that wholeheartedly?
Of course not.
Or does he still harbor some hope deep down that someone will show some genuine, true kindness to him? He tries to be repulsive to get others to hate him, to artificially distance himself so he won't feel pain from the dishonesty of the world. He plays this off as a stubborn refusal to change and give in, as a rebuttal to quote-unquote losing, but the truth is that he isn't comfortable being honest, because honesty has only ever gotten him hurt in the past.
That's what they say, like, some people feel that that's like a defense mechanism, not to be honest, and because like you said, like honesty just hurts sometimes, and the more it hurts, the more you're like, maybe I shouldn't tell the truth. Maybe I shouldn't do it this way. Maybe I should do it that way. And I get it, man. I get it. I truly do. And Hachiman as a character, man, it's a great character.
He wants to believe that other people can be kind, but he can't. And still, somehow, his true essence shines through, even here. The world is bleak. I don't need others. I don't need connection.
This scene right here, I don't know if he talks about it in this retrospective that he's doing, but this scene right here where he pretty much gets his heart broken for the other guy because the other guy is in love with another girl, and she basically came to Hachiman and was like, hey, I know he's in love with me. I don't want to date him, but I also don't want to break up our friend group. So Hachiman instead invests his love for her, and obviously spoilers, and pretty much gets his heart broken, and he does it in front of his two friends, Yukino and, oh god, I can't remember her name, but she's a pretty important character. She's the other love interest. But yeah, they do it in front of each other, and the two girls hate him for it because they know it's a lie, and they're taking that experience from the other guy because like you need those experiences to grow as a person. So to me, like taking that experience away from somebody is absolutely insane. You don't need to do that. Like those people don't need that to be taken away from them. They need to be able to experience heartbreak and grow from that and learn from that and become better people off of that, because like if they don't, they never learn.
This is all I need to be fulfilled. He's lying to himself, giving himself excuses to not to have to put in the effort in case he gets heartbroken again.
俺は優しい女の子は嫌いだ。
Such a great
ほんの
speech.
一言挨拶を交わせば気になるし、メールが行き交えば心がざわつく。電話なんかかかってきた日には着信履歴を見てつい頬が緩む。だが知っている。それが優しさだということを。俺に優しい人間は他の人にも優しくて、そのことをつい忘れてしまいそうになる。真実は残酷だというのなら、きっと嘘は優しいのだろう。だから優しさは嘘だ。いつだって期待して いつも勘違いして、いつからか希望を持つのはやめた。訓練されたぼっちは二度も同じ手に引っかかったりしない。百戦錬磨の強者、負けることに関しては俺が最強。だからいつまでも優しい女の子は嫌いだ。
So for the people that I think the English version does a great version at, you know, expressing his emotion as well. So I kind of want to share that with you guys. So I'm going to pause this video and we're going to listen to the English version of that speech. I think it's a freaking great speech. It's only a minute long, so, you know, we're just going to listen to it.
I hate nice girls. If they so much as say hello, it stays on my mind. If they return my text, my heart races. The day one calls me, I know I'll look at my call history and grin. But I know in my heart, that's just them being nice. People who are nice to me are also nice to everyone else. I almost end up forgetting that. If the truth is cruel, then lies must be kind. That's why kindness is a lie. I gave up on always expecting it, always mistaking it, and even hoping for it. Someone who's been alone for so long doesn't fall for the same trick twice. I'm a veteran. I'm the best there is when it comes to losing. And that's why I'll always hate nice girls.
That shit just hits. That shit just hits different, man. It's just oh man. It just, that speech hits different, man. It really does. It really is different.
Hachiman is a compassionate, good person, but he has been burned so many times in the past. By school crushes, by cliques, and other students. As a byproduct of school life, he has been conditioned to not trust anyone or open up. He has built up this idea that he is not worth anything, and his concept of self-value is slim to none. He has very little confidence and does not believe that he deserves happiness, because he has learned to not believe this. But in a narrative stroke that nicely displays humanity's longing for truth and connection, despite all of this, he wants to help people.
Which is absolutely insane that somebody will have such a negative outlook on life and all they want to do is help people. That's all he wants to do. Like, truly, deep down, that's all he wants to do is just help people. And he does it in a show, but he does it in such a self-deprecating way that it doesn't seem like, obviously he's helping people, but he's not helping himself. He's just making himself look bad. And that's why the girls dislike the way he does things so much.
Is extremely caring of others, at total odds with his outwards philosophy. And the service club he joins at the beginning of the story gives him a way to do that. But because of his specific circumstances, his way of helping people is often radically altruistic, to the point where he sacrifices his reputation, feelings, and personal well-being to assist them, suffering humiliation after humiliation to help people. He is such a kind soul, and he is like a deer in the headlights when it comes to trying to communicate this kindness. I personally see this as such a sad state. He is constantly trying to express his caring nature, but is so withdrawn and hurt that he doesn't know how.
And that's something that I really like about Yukino, is that, like, they are kind of they're very similar in the way they see the world almost, but like the way that she doesn't know how to express her feelings and the way he doesn't, and the way they come together at the end is so beautiful. So beautiful.
One of the only ways he knows to achieve the desired results in these situations is self-sacrifice to maintain the status quo of the people involved without really getting to the deepest root of the issue, metaphorically beating himself into the dirt and dismissing his worth, because that's what he's familiar with and that's what he thinks of himself. And because of his pride, he is far too stubborn to change easily. Hachiman is characterized by fear, and despite how quirky and cheerful Oregairu as a story can be at times, we need only look beneath the surface to see a sad story of someone who has never learned to properly connect with most others despite wanting to, who is on constant alert and frightened to death of being used or hurt. This is no way to live.
Yeah, like as somebody coming from experience like this, like if you're just scared to live, man, you're pretty much dying at that point. Like you can't be scared to live, man. You just have to go for everything that you want at the end of the day. Express your emotions, get your heart broke, pick yourself back up, express yourself, get hurt again, pick yourself back up, like over and over, man. Like it sucks, but it will help you grow as a person. And once you learn to love yourself for who you genuinely are, doesn't even matter at that point, man.
He refuses to accept help from the vast majority,
It's
partly
not like
because he
help.
doesn't want to expose his vulnerabilities to the world, and perhaps partly because he doesn't think he deserves this help. But this state of affairs is interrupted by two young women who have
There they
grown
are.
to care for Hachiman, who constantly offer him a place of comfort and happiness.
この場合、なぜ傷つけたくないかこそ考えるべきなんだ。そしてその答えはすぐに出る。大切なものだから傷つけたくない。
It hurts Yuigahama and Yukino to see Hachiman do these things because they care for him. He just doesn't seem to be able to conceptualize this and understand because this is an extremely unfamiliar situation, tragically enough. But he eventually realizes the harm that he is doing to those he cares about and decides to make a change. Over time, his outer shell wears away, and Hachiman is able to properly become close with the two. They teach him that he does have value and that he does deserve to be happy, and things slowly start to develop. But then, an interesting problem occurs. As pointed out in
The fucking stupid tropes.
subtitled anime's video on the topic, Oregairu has a razor focus on the theme of dishonest facades. How the way we portray ourselves in societal interactions can be completely superficial or even artificial. And this is done for many reasons, but the most potent of these is in order to maintain a comfortable, peaceful status quo within social groups. Group dynamics are sensitive and volatile, and altering them too much can cause previously happy friend groups to completely shatter.
Yep.
Those involved with these groups may not want to take a chance on love with someone else or make some sort of drastic action in fear of compromising the harmony of the group. And this puts them all in stasis. Cautious happiness, where those involved are too scared to change things, tunnel-visioned and stuck in these little bubbles in the hopes of holding on to these friendships. Stick or twist. Most choose to stick. What Hachiman rightly observes is that this dynamic is ridiculous. He states it as cowardly to not try and pursue happiness, and if a group was so fragile that it would split after one big change or altercation, how strong were those friendships in the first place really? But Hachiman is a hypocrite because he does this very same thing.
It's one of the funniest things to realize is that he's literally one of the biggest hypocrites. He does everything that he thinks is stupid. Everything he thinks and everything he dislikes about what other people do and how things shouldn't change so easily if you guys are friends. And but his little friend group he has here with Yukino and I can't remember her name ever. Anyway, their little friend group, and then once she confesses to him, it changes everything, and he realizes that things can't stay the same. They just can't.
And he very likely knows this. He hates the shallow dishonesty that perpetuates in the hopes of avoiding pain, but he has been doing the same thing throughout his high school life through his loner persona, and began doing it to an arguably greater extent as his relationships with Yuigahama and Yukino evolved. The two girls are completely layered, nuanced, attractive, and extremely good-hearted young women, and they complement Hachiman in ways that benefited his life exponentially. The three of them have become what each individual really needs, but as is usually the case, feelings develop, and things don't stay simple. It is quite clear that both girls have feelings for Hachiman, and to a certain extent, he has feelings for both of them. And funnily enough, he finds himself at a standstill, nearly identical to the ones that he had been criticizing earlier.
Yep.
Now he sees how hard it is to alter what had proven to be such a happy little group. He is hesitant to break things, but the longer he waits, the more aware of the situation the three get, and the more consequently superficial the interactions become. And he sees that this is the last thing he wants to happen.
傷つけないなんてことはできないんだ。人間存在するだけで無自覚に誰かを傷つけるものさ。生きていても死んでいてもずっと傷つける。関われば傷つけるし、関わらないようにしてもそのことが傷つけるかもしれない。
でも俺はそれでも俺は本物が欲しい。
What Hachiman seems to understand but cannot yet apply to himself is that taking that extra step and becoming vulnerable is what being human is.
It is.
It's duality. You can't have the joys of connection without risking the sorrows. For someone who has longed for and craved human connection his entire life, Hachiman is understandably desperately afraid of losing the valuable relationships that he has built, which amplifies the difficulty of the situation for him personally. He has feelings for both girls and still harbors reservations of whether he deserves the happiness that either one would be able to provide him with, and he is also deeply concerned about the personal feelings of both. But for the first time in what seems like forever, Hachiman must come to learn that he needs to set all of that aside and think about his own happiness, about what his heart is telling him. It may be risky, but that's what life is. Hachiman must have faith that this special group will be strong enough to withstand anything. He must believe in the bonds that he's formed to not allow his fear of loss to overtake his journey. And taking this leap of faith, validating himself, may prove to be the single most important decision he could ever make. In the end, it's okay to show weakness, it's okay to take risks, and it's okay to want things for yourself. Because there will always be someone out there to care for you and support you through the difficulties. Many thanks for watching.
Such a great great perspective on the characters. I think what I like the most about this anime is that Yokohama at the end of the show, she couldn't take it anymore. Like, she couldn't do anything, and she couldn't get them to tell each other how they felt. So she decided to do it herself. And in turn of her being able to, you know, put herself out there, it made Hachiman realize that, hey man, like, if this girl can do this and get her heart broken knowing that I probably don't feel the same way about her as she feels about me, and still possibly want to be in my life, then I can do the same thing. So my favorite scene is when he finally gets the courage to tell Yukino how he feels, and it's just such a fucking great scene, man. It's a fantastic scene. It's him being vulnerable. It's him being himself. It's 100% authentic, and I love that scene. While I'm talking about it, I guess we can watch it so that we can all like be on the same page. With them on the bridge. I don't know if they're gonna do the whole thing, but let's see if I can actually find it. Nope. See if the short shows it. Creating any distance between us won't be the end of it. I don't really care about the music. That's why. And like this scene right here. And he pretty much just tells her that in his own way, the words he uses is, I want to continue to distort your life and I want you to continue to distort my life, which pretty much is like, he was saying that there's a distortion between, you know, relationships and people being together. And in his eyes, that is true. It's like a disruption and, you know, it's kind of, you know, messing things up, but he couldn't picture a life without Yukino, and that was his way of getting her to understand. And on this bridge, when he grabs her and tells her, because at the, I mean, as you guys saw, he was kind of wavering, like he was walking away, said she didn't want to talk about it anymore. And he's like, no, like grabs her back and pretty much is like, hey, like we gotta talk about this. Like this has to be talked about, because if we don't talk about it, and the more and more it lingers, the worse and worse things are gonna get. So he finally confesses to her, and pretty much they continue that arc, and they're doing like a festival or something at the end of the season 3, and they end up dating together. And at the end of the season, they go back to their human services club, or I forgot what it's actually called, but like where they go and help people. Services club, there it is. And it's just him and Yukino sitting in the room, and they're missing someone. Yukihama finally comes through the door, and she's like back, and it's like the friendship had never ended, because Yukihama was mature enough to get her heart broken and still want to be friends with the people that she loves, because she loves these guys no matter what. Even if they are going to date each other, she decided that she wanted to be friends with them. And the show kind of ends with them being friends again, and boom, at the end, here we go. But I really like those type of videos, the retrospectives, and they go into a deep character dive on a specific character. That one was kind of short. Some of the other ones are kind of like hours long. But I don't want to sit here reacting for an hour to something like that. But guys, if you like the video, again, like the video, comment down below if you guys like these type of videos, and we can continue to do them. I love anime, so like I love talking about anime, especially animes I'm really, really into, and this is one I'm really into. I do watch other romance anime, so if you want to see more romance animes, let me know. And then I will see you guys on the next one, man. Peace and love.